of a live stream where we're going to force a transparency on an industry that relies on secrecy to make profit, and the secrecy involves exploiting and killing innocent animals. Today we're outside of a slaughterhouse live. Our first disclaimer is that we're not here to cause alarm, harassment or distress or any form of intimidation. We're here under our right to peacefully protest and to legally assemble. Our second disclaimer is that we're not here to clash with non-vegans, to point fingers and say you're a bad person if you're not vegan. We're here today to come up beside you and say, listen, did you know the industry made you pay for this, without even telling you the truth? Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan already. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to why we're here and what we're doing. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream. We need 100 likes as fast as possible. Now the camera's not facing us. The camera's not facing us and there's no trucks in the layerage
we'll see the
so
layerage.
far. Let's get set up. There's that for in a second.
Yeah.
All right, okay guys, make sure, keep double tapping the live stream. We need 100 likes before the first truck of animals turn up. We've got no security, the camera's facing the other way. We could be here earlier than the trucks today, which is very, very abnormal. Let's get the camera up over the top. What can you see?
Yeah,
can you see inside the layerage?
Yeah, it's
okay,
open.
guys, what you're looking at right now inside of a layerage, this is a big holding pen for the animals. This is basically where the animals are kept before being taken forward onto the kill floor to be executed by being shot in the face and stabbed in the throat. This slaughterhouse here executes and murders cows. Cows from the dairy industry and cows from the meat industry. 2 different breeds of cows. Remember today, our objective is to come alongside you and show you the truth. We won't be lying to you. We won't be paying for false marketing. We'll be telling you exactly the truth. Subscribe to chat in this live stream. Subscribe and hit 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded as to why we're here. Subscribe and hit 3 in the chat if you are anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream. Please share this on your socials. Let's get 100 likes before the first truck of animals turn up. We're here today to bring you the truth. And if you want to see the truth further, if you want to see what happens inside of these facilities, then click on the 3 dots in the top right-hand corner, go into the live stream, and you've got a link tree at the top. Hit that link tree, and the top 2 documentaries, number 1 is Dominion, and number 2 is Joey Armstrong's Pignorant. Subscribe and hit 1 if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 if you're not vegan, but you're a kind person. Subscribe and hit 3 if you are anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, share on your socials. Make sure you've subscribed. We're here today to bring you the truth. Now, they are killing cows here today. I can smell.
And it stinks.
Can you smell?
Stinks. Yeah, yeah.
A big waft just come through there where you can smell that they're taking life already. It smells like a metallic, irony smell. I can like feel in the air that they're killing animals here today. We are live outside of a slaughterhouse to bring you the transparency. This industry relies on secrecy. This is why 16-foot spike fence, all the CCTV, the cattle grids, all of the netting on the doors. Oh. This is why in a minute you're gonna see the security come out and they put the door behind me or the gate behind me on a manual system where they're gonna push and pull the door because it goes faster than if you hit the automatic button. Subscribe and hit 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations. Subscribe and hit 3 in the chat if you are anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream. How many likes have we got?
We got 12 likes in the live right now. Let's get to 50 as soon as possible.
As soon as possible before the next truck
They've
comes.
not spotted us. They've not spotted us
They've
here
not
yet.
spotted us at all. That's why we're sat underneath this camera. We may get away with it. We may be able to catch the first truck without even being noted that we're here. That's why I'm talking at a reasonable level. They may see us, they may hear us. They do look out for us a lot of the time. They follow our socials. Yeah. So as soon as they see that we've gone live, oh gosh, the smell, don't know that we're here. Now listen, we're here on educational purposes. Let me give you some educational facts just to start with. Did you know that over 20% of cows in the dairy industry go to the slaughterhouse pregnant? That's right, cows in the dairy industry are mothers. That's why they produce breast milk. Their babies are executed if they're male because they're classed as waste. The females are put in isolation hutches and kept away from them, and they are exploited for their breast milk before they come to a slaughterhouse to be killed. Subscribe and hit 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, hit 2 in the chat if you're a kind person but you're not vegan yet. Subscribe and hit 3 in the chat if being kind to animals triggers you. Double tap the live stream. Let's get the likes over 50. So every dairy cow that comes to a slaughterhouse would have been a mum. They would have had a baby taken away from them. They're sold on their weight. This is why a lot of the time they come to the slaughterhouse pregnant, because they're heavier, because there's a baby inside their stomach. I've seen footage of slaughtermen executing the cows, cutting the babies out of their stomach and allowing the baby to suffocate in the embryo sac on the cold, dark concrete floor of a kill floor inside a slaughterhouse. How horrific is that? And that is for dairy. So when people say vegetarian is better than vegan, the vegetarian would still be paying for that industry. Subscribe and hit 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations. Subscribe and hit 3 in the chat if you are triggered by people being kind to animals. We're going to show you up again over the top whilst we can. Usually they try and hide this, they try and block this, they don't want you to see that you're looking at a layerage. You're looking straight inside of a slaughterhouse live. This is what, 10:25, 10:27 on the 24th of July, and there you go, you're looking inside of a slaughterhouse at animals in the layerage who will be executed and killed today for optional products like cheese, chocolate, yogurts, and their milk in your tea and coffee. They also execute cows from the meat industry here. The meat industry.
I can see a cow.
You can see the cows. Yeah. What cows are they? Dairy cows?
Yeah, it looks like dairy cows.
Dairy cows. Absolutely horrific. Guys, subscribe and hit 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 in the chat if you're not vegan. Be open-minded to why we're here. Subscribe and hit 3 in the chat if you're triggered by people trying to help animals. Make sure you double tap the live stream. Go to the top right-hand corner, hit the 3 dots, go to the Linktree link and watch Dominion and watch Pignorant. Once you've watched them documentaries, there is another section at the bottom that says help to go vegan, where you can click on John the Bodybuilding Vegan and the Vegan Squad for any resources on how to go vegan. Remember our disclaimer at the beginning, we're not here to clash with non-vegans. Pull your questions in. If we can get around to your questions, we're going to answer your questions. We'll answer your questions while we're waiting for the animals. If you stay on this live stream more than 10 minutes, this will change your life and it'll give you the opportunity to be educated so you can make a right decision.
Penguin Plains put, can I drink milk?
You can drink oat milk, soy milk, rice milk, almond milk, pea milk, hemp milk, however other milks you want, but don't drink cow's milk, don't drink goat's milk, don't drink milk from a mother that wasn't yours. That's it, has all as simple as it is. Cows were not your mums. Their mums, the milk that they make is for their babies, their mums. So no, milk is a violent industry. It's exploitative, it's hidden, the same as eggs. Let me give you some facts about the egg industry after you've hit subscribe and 1 if you're vegan, hit subscribe and 2 if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to why vegans are live streaming outside of a slaughterhouse, and subscribe and hit 3 if you are triggered by people trying to be kind to chickens. Double tap the live stream. The egg industry, let me give you a quick fact. Males in the egg industry don't produce eggs, so they get blended up the first day of life. The first day of life. Another triggered live stream troll. That guy there just shouted at us as he drove in and he nearly hit the side. So, ridiculous.
Loser.
Yeah, did you have a question?
Yes, someone just said, is this a slaughterhouse?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a slaughterhouse. We're here outside of an ABP slaughterhouse. This slaughterhouse executes cows. And we're here today to bring you the reality and the truth. We're not here to propagate, we're not here to lie. We haven't got all the money in the world that the meat, dairy and egg and other industries that exploit animals have to indoctrinate the public. Remember, this is nothing more than a business. All it is, animal agriculture, slaughterhouses, animal farmers, they are just businesses and they've marketed to the consumer in the best way possible. I'll explain their marketing tactics after this. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded and you're a kind person. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you are triggered by people trying to be kind to chickens. Double tap the live stream. How many likes are in there?
We've got 53 now. Let's get to 100 as soon as possible.
53.
And the security are now there behind us.
Okay. Now let me just tell you some facts about their marketing, right? Which is what I'm trying to get around. Animal farmers, they've marketed to the consumers some really clever things. First of all, just critically think about this for 1 second. If you're not vegan and you drink cow's milk, they have convinced you that you're a baby cow. They've convinced you that the cow's milk that's intended for their baby is better for you and that you need it. They've convinced you that. Secondly, they've told you that it's humane and that it's ethical and that this is all okay, what happens here.
They ran away. They knew I was about to film. They ran away.
They always run away. They always run away.
Yeah, cowards.
Maybe if we could keep the screen from going black with the thing, see if it will keep. Is it gone black already today?
No, I just had it up.
Is it all right? Cool. The second marketing thing, humane, ethical, necessary. So the third, Humane, ethical, necessary. All a bunch of lies, all unnecessary. Certainly is not humane or ethical. Subscribe and hit 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations. Subscribe and hit 3 in the chat if you are triggered by people looking after animals and being morally considerative towards them.
Yeah, guys, all right, we're nearly on 100 likes. Keep liking this live stream, comment and share. The way you can comment today, subscribe at the top and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment, share, ask questions. We're not here to hate on you. We're here purely to defend the animals that are currently inside this place who are being exploited around the world on animal farms, animal experiments, bullfighting, greyhound racing, horse racing. In fact, Animal Aid just about to release something massive. Go and look at their website as well. So is Joey Carbstrong. He's about to release a massive investigation too. Please subscribe and write your comments and questions and keep double tapping the live.
What do you say to someone like Ryan here who's just put, I will never be vegan?
I think that's really sad. So Ryan basically is saying that they're so weak and so greedy and so selfish and have such a superiority complex that he was never going to be a nice person. Okay, that's someone who says, I'm always going to be an animal abuser. That's disgusting and you're letting yourself down. But the fact that you are living means that animals are being sentenced to a slaughterhouse, they're being mutilated alive, they're having their tails cut off, they're having their teeth ground down, they're being pulled by the back legs and they're smacking their heads on the floor and they're being forced inside gas chambers. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe at the top and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment, share. Is there questions?
Yeah, great question here from FIFA Clips 26.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be vegan?
Thank you so much
Lovely
for that question. Yeah, that's, what a question, right? What it means to be vegan. It's just a normal person who just doesn't oppress animals. The fact that every single child is born vegan, I was born vegan in your heart, someone who just doesn't want to oppress somebody else. The world then indoctrinates you and lies to you. It says to you that you need cow's milk for calcium. It says that you need animal flesh for protein. It says that you need to do this or you won't survive. That's a complete lie. I didn't know what happens in these industries. It's the most liberating feeling because I'm pure, I'm myself and I'm not hurting somebody else. Please subscribe at the top and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, keep liking this live stream to get to 100 likes as soon as possible.
We're on 83 likes right now. Joe N says, why don't you just eat your greens and leave the meat eaters alone?
No, because you're basically being racist to animals, you're oppressing them and you're killing them. What about if I said, well, why don't you just not traffic children, just leave the child traffickers alone? No, you'd say there's an injustice to a victim. We always fight for the victim, stand up for what is right. Okay, subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe at the top and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, keep liking, sharing, get to 100 likes as soon as possible.
We're on 89 right now. A quiet something says, is vegetarian okay?
No, absolutely not. So I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. They kill cows from the dairy industry. Vegetarian is just a diet, but vegetarians still pay for animals to be exploited, used, commodified, and see them as slaves. Veganism is an anti-oppression stance. So I'm against the use and exploitation of animals. So I don't wear them, I don't use them for entertainment, I don't use them to experiment on, and I don't use them to eat their bodies, wear their skins, or drink their breast milk or eggs. Because otherwise they're exploited and they're all killed. Please double tap this screen. How many likes we got?
92.
92, we're nearly at 100 likes. Keep double tapping this live stream. The likes is what gets this out so the animals can be seen by the world who needs to see them.
Emily Wheatley's put, the only inhumane thing about meat is halal.
No.
Being vegan is fine, but trying to convert people is wrong. People need to make their own choices.
Thank you. You're vegan. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, we've got to fight for the animals. Thank you so
100%.
much for your kind words. Thank you. Wow, he just stopped there and just was like, yeah, be vegan, be vegan, be vegan. Are they opening this gate now in a minute? Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment and share.
Look, they're putting the gate now on manual.
Look inside a slaughterhouse, guys, look at this. How do you sleep at night? How do you live with yourself knowing what you're doing to these dear animals? Look at these cows inside.
Back to the public area. You know where you're supposed to stand.
Look at these cows. You know what you're supposed to do morally, don't you? You know you're supposed to end this. Why are you working in such an evil place? You know what you're supposed to do. You know you're supposed to leave here and protect animals, but you're part of the oppression towards animals. How dare they work in these places? Animals are inside here right now being killed. They're begging for their life. They're screaming for their life because someone's drinking their breast milk intended for a baby cow or wants to drink their flesh. Subscribe at the top and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, comment and share. Sorry, what was that?
900 here right now and 112,000 likes. 112 likes.
112 likes. Let's get to 150 likes as soon as possible. Animals will be turning up right now. As you've seen, we've got security on the gates. We've got CCTV up there. They've taken the gate off the automated system. They've got it on manual so they can run the gate faster.
Benjamin, thanks for your comment. Benjamin's put, is being vegetarian better than eating meat?
No, it's no different. It's no different. Studies actually show that people, when they go vegetarian, consume more eggs and cheese because of going vegetarian. The egg and cheese industry are the same as the meat industry. They all get separate. They're actually more abusive than the meat industry, but it is the meat industry. Here is the meat industry, animal agriculture, experiments, eggs, dairy, fish, leather, wool. Here's the marketing, and the vegans don't pay for that. Okay, so vegetarians still over here. You're still paying for animal products. You're viewing animals as a resource for you. Veganism is against the use and exploitation of animals. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, comment, and share.
Milo's put, what if I just drink milk? Am I vegan or vegetarian?
You're vegetarian. If you're drinking cow's milk, then you don't understand what veganism is. Veganism is not viewing someone as a resource, not viewing someone as a slave or a commodity. Just like how I don't view people of colour, people of different races as a slave or a commodity to me. But at one stage in life, people did. People used to treat other people different purely on the way that they look or their race. Horrific. Shame on you working here. How do you live with yourself? How do you live with yourself? How do you live with yourself? If you were my family member, I'd be so ashamed. I'd be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed to know anybody who works in a slaughterhouse. I'd be embarrassed to know anyone who kills animals.
Where can people see inside these facilities?
Yeah, go to the link in the description and watch Dominion on YouTube. Go and watch Dominion on YouTube. What was that? Okay, guys, please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. How many likes are we on now?
130.
Okay, 130, let's get to 150 as soon as possible. Animals are in the layrage right now. I'm at a slaughterhouse today. They kill cows from the dairy industry and the beef industry. And there was a lot of people asking about vegetarians, so let me just explain the dairy and egg industry quickly. But before I do that, please subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, keep liking, sharing and commenting. Okay, I'll start with the egg industry. The egg industry, a lot of people think the egg industry is just like a byproduct of chickens living. They think a little farmer walks around their little basket picking up eggs on the field. That is not the reality. But that's what they marketed to you. So I used to believe that. What happens is they start a parent breeder shed, okay? When these eggs are fertilized, they get sentenced to a hatchery where they sex the male and female. The males do not produce eggs, so they're sentenced to a gas chamber. They're either put in bags to suffocate, but the majority of the way that they kill those male chicks is putting them in a blender alive on day 1. That's standard. Local, organic, free range everywhere. Standard practice. Subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe at the top of this live and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, keep liking, sharing and commenting. What happens next is that the females get them sentenced to barns, up to 15 to 30,000 chickens in one barn. They're literally crammed, so they're like prisoners in here, okay? They've been genetically modified to lay 300 eggs a year. Naturally, they should only be laying 12. So their nutrients are so depleted from their body. When I used to purchase eggs before I was vegan, they used to crack really easily. We have rescue hens, they have their eggs back, feed their eggs back to them. Now their eggs are literally so solid because that determines the health of the chicken. Feed their eggs back to them, they need that nutrients back in their body. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. By the way, all the egg-laying hens get sentenced to a slaughterhouse at 18 months old. Majority of the time a gas chamber.
Cool.
Switching back in with
Steve.
Steve.
Swap back here. We've got 150 likes right now. The sun's really hot on here, so We're going to be here for as long as we can. I think your battery should last another 12 hours. So we'll make sure that we keep ample pressure on this industry and keep the transparency flowing for the consumer. With that, I want to make another disclaimer. I want to remind new people coming into the live stream that we are not here to clash with non-vegans. This isn't a rage-based stream. This isn't a stream where we're saying that we're better than you. This isn't a stream where we're saying that if you're non-vegan, you're a bad person. This is a stream where we're saying you've been lied to, and we're here to show you the truth so you can make an educated decision.
I just remembered that someone asked about halal. They're saying halal is the only inhumane way to do it, and I didn't answer the question because I forgot.
All right, thanks for reminding me. I'm going to answer that after you put subscribe on 1 if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 if you're not vegan but you're a kind person. Subscribe and hit 3 if defending animals triggers you so much that you can't stand it and you put nonsense in the chat. Please double tap the live stream and share on your socials. Now, people often say, oh, go and protest at a halal slaughterhouse. Go and protest at other religious slaughterhouse. Because if you can blame halal for being bad, then it makes what happens in here okay. But what is the difference that happens between halal and standard slaughter? No difference at all, other than a prayer is said. That's it. And I don't care what words you say to someone before you stab them in the throat. For the victim, the experience is very much the same. If you put a sheep in a halal slaughterhouse and if you put a sheep in a standard slaughterhouse, both animals are having their throats slashed open. Often in halal slaughterhouses, they stun the animals because of improper cuts anyway. This is the thing. We're not here saying that there's a better way of doing this. We're saying that we should always look at this injustice from the individual's point of view, and it should never be done. They should have the right to their bodily autonomy. They should have their right to their life. If you're against halal slaughter, you should be against slaughter. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you are not vegan but you're open-minded. And subscribe and put 3 in the chat if it triggers you that people are trying to defend animals. Double tap the live stream.
What would you say to this person, Maha Edit? Sorry if I've said that wrong. I am a 2, but I respect vegans and I only eat steak.
Okay, so you're number 2. So this is basically I respect you, respect me kind of thing. This is quite common when you're debating people. They say that I respect your point of view, almost to say like, I understand what you're doing and I'm with you, but it's just not for me. But you wouldn't take that position with anything else. I'll give you another analogy. If ever you wanted to stress test something, put it into a human situation. Let's say that you're a child trafficker and I'm against exploiting children. If I said to you, what you do is, oh, you know, I respect what you do, but I'm just not going to traffic the children. Would that sound psychopathic to you? Would that sound like strange? Because to me, this is what it sounds like when someone who exploits animals says to a vegan, I respect what you stand for, but it's just not for me. You can't respect the ethics of a vegan and then go against them. The same as I can't respect the ethics of a non-racist and then go and be racist. It's just, you know, it's an oxymoron. It doesn't exist. But people are taught to say these things, to sloping shoulders, wash the problem away, and then feel good about themselves until they come across that critically thinking again, until the subject's put back in front of them. You can't love animals and send them to slaughterhouses. You can't be an animal lover and not be vegan. It's just impossible. You can be vegan and not an animal lover, but you can't be an animal lover and not be vegan. Subscribe and hit 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 in the chat if you are not vegan yet, but you're open-minded to why we're here. Subscribe and hit 3 in the chat if defending baby chickens triggers you, and double tap the live stream.
Someone put humans and animals are not the same. We're also at 164 likes.
Okay, so we needed 200 likes before the first truck, so let's get at least another 40 likes in the next 5 minutes. Guys, I'm not saying that humans and animals are exactly the same, but what I am saying is humans and animals are the same in every way that matters, in the fact that we're all sentient, we're all having a subjective experience of our life, we all have the ability to feel pain and suffer, we all have emotions. I'm not saying that not all humans are the same. And this mindset of not all being the same is exactly what led to all sorts of exploitation and oppression throughout history. Have we not learned anything?
Yeah, I was going to say this comment just popped up whilst you said that. Anthony Blaze put humans are superior to animals.
Wow. Wow. What if I said white people were superior to black people? Or people with blonde hair are superior to people with brown hair? Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you are vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if defending animals triggers you. Double tap the live stream. Please like and subscribe and share on your socials. Superiority complex is such an ugly complex.
Yeah.
It's a great position to be if you're the oppressor, but imagine how it would feel if you were the victim. Imagine if someone bigger and stronger, imagine if an alien race came down and absolutely oppressed and exploited you in the same way that you do to animals, and then they just said, well, I'm bigger and stronger, I'm superior. Subscribe and hit 1 if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 if you're a kind person but not vegan yet and you're wondering why 2 vegans are still outside of a slaughterhouse live streaming. Subscribe and hit 3 if you are triggered by people trying to be kind to animals. Double tap the live stream. Please go into the link in the description. Click on the Linktree link at the top and go and watch Dominion and go and watch Pignorant. Once you've watched them 2 documentaries, go and click on Help Going Vegan. We're here live outside of a slaughterhouse today. This is an ABP slaughterhouse. Security are here. I can smell that they're killing cows.
Yeah, we saw the cows this morning. Abus put, I get where you're coming from and I respect your opinion. Even though I'm not vegan, I get where you're coming from. So everyone should stop being rude. My auntie and uncle are vegan, so too.
Yeah, I appreciate the defending people being rude against us, but what's stopping you from being vegan? If you've got enough kindness and compassion to put a comment in there saying, stop being mean to the vegans, sounds like you've got compassion in your heart. What's your block? What's stopping you? You've got an auntie and uncle who are vegan. You've got literally free help there, and I can give you more free help. Go in the link in the description and go to the bottom and click on Help Going Vegan. But you should be vegan too. Subscribe and hit 1 in the chat if you are already vegan and you've already removed your personal responsibility for the violence towards animals. Subscribe and hit 2 in the chat if you're a kind person, if you do morally consider some animals, if you do think that you're a nice person but you're not vegan yet. And subscribe and hit 3 if people saying let's be kind to cows offends you. Double tap the live stream, make sure you share on all your socials. We're trying to get the animals seen. We're not clashing with you, we're trying to get the animals seen.
170 likes, we're close to 200 now. Keep double tapping that stream. Why do you think this is? So we've got someone called Country Life, which I presume is an animal farmer, and somebody else who is adamant they would want to hit us with their lorries. Why do you think people get so angry at people trying to protect animals?
Because they're defending it sounds like you're right, it sounds like they're both part of the industry and they're defending their profit margins. This is why you see a lot of violence throughout anyone trying to stand up against any oppression. Any justice movement has been met with violent oppression because any justice movement has challenged systems that exploit individuals for profit. So because it threatens profit, because it threatens money, people get aggressive and they get angry and they get triggered. Any genuine people who may be a number 2, who get a little bit cross and upset when people say you should be vegan if you don't want to hurt animals, these are the reasons why you should be vegan. Some people genuinely do get cross and upset. I'll tell you why. After you subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded, subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're offended by people saying let's be kind to animals, double tap the live stream. The reason why some number 2s get offended is because they actually really care. And sometimes when you hold a mirror up in front of someone and you say, listen, this is going to be really uncomfortable for you to hear, but the animals need me to tell you this. The whole time you're not vegan, you are personally responsible for them dying inside slaughterhouses. You're responsible for them being executed and exploited for profit margins. And when you see that reflection, it hurts and you get angry. But let me tell you where that anger goes. Once you take a breath, step back and go vegan, that anger goes right towards the industry. These idiots, this horrible, evil industry that have lied to good people to make you pay for the horrific violence towards the most innocent. Subscribe and hit 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to this conversation. Subscribe and hit 3 in the chat if you are triggered by people trying to defend baby animals who can't defend themselves. Double tap the live stream. How many likes are we on now?
176 likes. Let's
All right,
get it up more.
We need another 30.
DBT put, answer my question, why judge people of what they eat?
Why judge people of what they eat? I'm not judging people. This is one of my main things. I'm not judging you. If you're not vegan, I'm not judging you saying you're a bad person. We're saying that if you're not vegan, do you realize that you're paying for mother cows to be forcefully impregnated and have their babies taken away? Do you realize that you're paying for 1-day-old male chicks in the egg industry to be put into blenders and blended up alive? Do you realize that the chickens that you eat are 42-day-old babies who are disabled going inside gas chambers? Do you realize if you're not vegan, 6-month-old piglets are going inside CO2 gas chambers to be killed for your bacon sandwiches? No one's judging. I'm giving you, and Mel's giving you facts. And then when you've got that facts and that education, you then can make an educated decision. If you feel judged, it's probably because you know what you're doing is wrong. And if you want to see what you're actually paying for rather than just our words, click on the link in the description and go and watch Dominion and go and watch Pignorant. Subscribe and hit 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're a kind person. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if being kind to animals triggers you, and double tap the stream. Please share on your socials.
Country Life just put, you called us racist. The same person who wants to run us over, by the way.
Racist, basically, if you're not vegan, it's speciesist, okay? It's speciesism. You're saying that these animals can be exploited and oppressed because of the way they look. So that's speciesism. It's a form of racism. It's identical in pretty much every single way. If you say to someone, I'm going to oppress you because you've got brown hair, that's racist. If you say to someone, I'm going to oppress you because you've got a tail and hooves, that's racist. It's speciesist. You're being, what's it called, to a small individual group.
Yeah, being oppressive to them.
1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded, 3 in the chat if you are triggered by people who are trying to defend animals. Make sure you've subscribed so that you can chat.
Guys, please put number 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream. I'm outside a slaughterhouse right now where they're killing cows inside this place from the dairy industry and the beef industry. Cows from the beef industry are around 18 months old when they get sentenced to a slaughterhouse to have their life taken away from them. They get stabbed in the throat. This is standard practice. Everything we are telling you today is standard practice. It's things that we have seen as well happen on farms. We investigate farms. We go onto these places and we put a camera up and we show you the reality. Subscribe at the top of this live stream. Put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment and share. We have security on the gate because these industries want to do this undercover. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to see their little faces when those animals go in to be killed. They don't want you to hear their cries of mercy when they go in to be killed. And they do cry and they do beg for mercy, but they get given none. Please subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. In a minute, we're going to show you over the fence. We're going to show you inside this place. We're going to show you the cows who are waiting in a lairage. Basically, what happens is when the truck driver turns up with those dear animals from concentration camps, they get sentenced inside a slaughterhouse. Let me explain more in a second. Subscribe at the top and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment and share. Basically what a lairage is, I call it a dungeon because if I walked into there, I'd be met with a dungeon. I'd be met with knives. I'd be met with scary people, concrete floors and barriers where I cannot escape. And even when they try and escape, they have a cattle grid here, a cattle grid, so their legs would break on trying to escape, and they'll drag them back into their slaughterhouse and kill them and stab them in the throat, hang them upside down, let their blood bleed out of their neck. Many of these cows, 20% of cows that go to slaughter are pregnant grieving mothers who've had baby after baby taken away from them because you're taking their breast milk. It's supply and demand. Because if you're not vegan, you pay them to keep killing animals and keep forcibly breeding them into existence so you can steal their breast milk, steal their eggs, steal their flesh, steal their skins, use them for experimentation, horse racing, greyhound racing. Please subscribe at the top to comment 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe at the top to comment 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet because you don't know the industry. And subscribe at the top to put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. How many likes have we got?
180 likes right now.
Let's get to 200 as soon as possible. Please, anyone who joins this live stream, the least you can do is just double tap this live stream and like this live. When we get to 200 plus, the algorithm gets thrown out there and the animals are seen by the world who needs to see them.
Tito Hinson keeps putting this question. If you want more vegans, then more vegans require more farmland. Farmland relocates local species. Farmland destroys habitats. Yeah. Imagine if everyone was vegan.
Imagine if everyone was vegan, then you'd save 75% of the world's farmland would be freed up. There's 90 billion animals bred into existence every single year. 90! There's only 9 billion humans on the planet. All those billions of animals eat plants that have to be cropped, deforestation, ocean dead zones because of it, climate change because of it, animal extinction because of it. So you're half there, but it's not the vegans, it's the animal oppressors who are the ones doing that to the environment as well. But guys, please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan, double tap the live stream, like, share and comment.
Anyone joining the live stream, where are we today? What is our objective? What are we trying to do?
Yeah, anyone joining the live stream, thank you for being here. I'm at a slaughterhouse and I'm trying to defend animals who have been stabbed behind me by evil individuals, evil industries that are lying to you. They're doing this on your behalf. That's why this is so urgent that you go vegan. This is the biggest war and it's put on the animals and you're the oppressor if you are not vegan. Don't be vegan phobic. Don't be like racist to the animals. It's a form of speciesism. We're just trying to protect the animals who have done nothing wrong, guys. We're here and we're trying to tell you the truth. All we got to do is put up a camera on the industry and people change vegan on the spot. We had so many people go vegan yesterday, so many people go vegan the day before. Constantly, because people don't know these industries, and that is not your fault. Please subscribe at the top and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, share, and comment. Keep liking. How many likes have we got now?
We're on 184 likes.
184.
What made you vegan?
The dairy industry. My morals and my heart. Because when I saw inside a slaughterhouse, I didn't understand. I didn't know that cows only produce milk for their babies. I didn't know that every single cow from the dairy industry is brutally murdered. Every single cow is brutally murdered. They have pregnancy forced upon them. The farmer puts them in something called a cattle crush. Research what a cattle crush is. Have a look for yourself. The contraption they put around these cows where they cannot escape. Whilst the farmer has access to her back end, they grape them without the G. Every single animal gets that happen to them. Every single animal you see in the fields, in the farms, factory farms, small holding, it's all the same. Standard practice, they all get graped without the G.
How sad is this? Naya's put, my mum won't let me be vegan.
Oh, that's so awful.
That's heartbreaking.
That's
I'm sorry,
awful.
Naya.
All I can say is to you, stand up strong. And I just wouldn't eat anything she gave me. And I would literally be like, no, I'm like, if your mum is cooking like veg and stuff, I'd just eat that and be like, I told you I'm not eating animals, I'm not paying for animal exploitation because I love them. Sit down and watch Dominion on YouTube. It's at the top in the right-hand corner of this live stream. There's a documentary called Dominion. Maybe get your mum to just sit down with you, watch Dominion together so she can understand why you want to be vegan, because she might not understand. And that's why she might be thinking, I want to do the best for you, but she doesn't understand that you can have all your nutrients from plants and you don't need to oppress animals, because the world is so indoctrinated right now. They don't understand this. They think protein comes from meat. They think calcium comes from cow's milk, but it doesn't. It comes from green leafy veg calcium. Protein comes from all plants. Plants is the only place that makes protein. The animals eat the plants, so you get protein secondhand from the animal, but you're killing animals right now to get the secondhand protein. Leave animals alone and just be vegan. It is so simple. I really hope that you can sit down with your mum and that she will support you and help you and defend the animals. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment, share and subscribe. What I would say to you, I would react how you would react if she cooked dog and put dog on the table. Fight for the animals the same.
In God we trust, but I think we need a change in society instead of big supermarkets, big farms and big abattoirs. We had local farms, butchers and no abattoirs. Bring back control to the local communities. Basically small-scale farming.
No, it's all the same. You've been indoctrinated. You're brainwashed right now to think that small local is better. Small local abattoir were out the other day. I hate the word abattoir. It's a slaughterhouse. It's a murder house. They take horses. They shoot horses in their face. They take baby cows from the dairy industry. All we can hear is cries. Cries all day. Okay? Local doesn't mean anything. You wouldn't know the difference between local, factory farm. It's exactly the same. It's just they use marketing words to trick you. Okay? Even if we still manned your argument and said, oh yeah, my next door neighbor farms cows for their breast milk. They still have to make them pregnant. They still have to take their baby away from them as standard practice. And all of those animals get taken to a slaughterhouse to be killed. So even if you think that they can live great lives, they get taken to a slaughterhouse to be stabbed in the throat. Every single one of them. You'll see, like yesterday, if you see on the live stream yesterday, massive trucks going into slaughter, small holding trucks with families, with children in the trucks, whilst taking mother cows to a slaughterhouse to be stabbed in the throat. Disgusting. There is no right way to do the wrong thing. It's the same as saying support your local murderer.
Tito Hinson put good rebuttal on the farmland point. Look, I agree that slaughterhouses are gross and inhumane. That being said, what about hunting? Is it wrong for a tiger to kill a boar?
Yeah, I appreciate your open-minded and your questions. Thank you, keep asking questions. So hunting with animals, I'll go over both anyway. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, comment and share. If you're someone who hunts, I think that's one of the weakest things that you can do is pull up a weapon and shoot someone someone who is defenseless, who doesn't understand, who's just trying to live their life. It's the same as if someone was walking along the town, you suddenly just shot them in the head, they had no idea. It's still wrong. I think it's horrific when you could have just gone into a supermarket and bought something else, or got vegan shoes or vegan whatever. As long as it's vegan, you're not paying for the exploitation of someone else. When an animal does it in the wild, so if you're talking about a lion eating a gazelle or animals in survival, the key word is survival. They're in a survival situation. They don't have another option. Yes, I still don't like what they're doing to the animals, but they have no other options. They have a justification to do that because they have this necessity for them. But I hope in the future when the world is vegan, we can help those animals as well. But right now, I'm just trying to get you to go vegan, because right now, by your choices, slaughterhouses exist. 90 billion animals are being forced into existence every single year to be killed. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment and share. I can feel that animals will be coming here any moment. Any moment. Behind me is a slaughterhouse. I'm here at a slaughterhouse where they kill cows from the dairy industry. Every single cow has pregnancy forced upon them. Every single cow will carry their baby for 9 months in their stomach, just like your mum carried you. And then when she gives birth to her baby, if her baby is a male, they